Well, first of all, in many ways, this is nostalgia and sentiment of this longing, you know. Considering this idea is more than 25 years old, the idea of the movie, how does all of this comes into play when checking your story, and how did you use it, like in terms of storytelling?
Well, it's an interesting project because it was like one of the first short films I ever did, and then I think just over the years, it's probably the one project that I've had where certain memories conjured up other memories, and so the whole thing sort of blossomed into more of a kind of a full-on memory of like not only just the relationship I had with my dog, but remembering other types of kids and the way kids act to each other and certain kind of teachers I remember. So it was really kind of fun to like put a personal image to everything. Like I remember that kid, you know, in school. I remember that weird girl. I remember that teacher, you know. So it was really kind of, and also down to the places. I was able to kind of recall like the way the classroom looked in the neighborhood, and it was just kind of a fun, kind of like dreaming in a way, kind of thinking about those things.
Okay, and in so many ways, the way you told your story actually like references some of your older movies. Like I can think of The Suburbs in Edward Scissorhands, or The Windmill in Sleepy Hollow. Like you take like these visual cues from your older projects.
It probably has more. I think it probably has. I never really thought about that because I think those kind of references come from actually older, right? You know,
yeah.
The kind. I mean, since this is such a movie based on like the feeling that the movies gave me when I was growing up. I mean, it was important to me. I wanted to make sure, you know, because there's a lot of references in the movie, but most people don't know what those references are. So I tried to make sure that, you know, for people who don't know old monster movie references or whatever, hopefully they can still enjoy the film, because the goal was to just give a feeling of those films so people that don't know them would at least can feel what they were about.
Yeah, because you also like referenced older movies like disaster movies and extraterrestrial movies, and in this one you have clear references to horror movies and monster movies and all that. So how did this help like your creative process to create this world?
Well, I mean, I think you know, everybody's inspired by something in their life, and for me, I grew up being inspired by movies, and that was the thing that. So it wasn't so much that I'm like a movie buff or whatever. It's just they're part of like your subconscious. They're part of you, and so sometimes people were even saying I was doing references that I wasn't even aware I was doing. So it's much more of an emotional reference than I was sort of intellectually thinking about it.
And you're also like revisiting some other aspects in your career. You're working again with Catherine O'Hara, with Winona Ryder, Martin Short.
Yeah.
How was that like necessary to do this personal project for you? Have people you already met?
Well, it meant a lot. I mean, I wouldn't have hired it unless they're good actors. So, I mean, they have to be that first. But it did make it more special on this, as I hadn't worked with them each for a while, and because the project meant what it does to me, having them be on was very special, because I hadn't, you know, time goes by quick and you don't see these people for a long time. So it was really nice to reconnect with them on a project like this.
Did it help anyway, like making the movie, it was easier to make the movie in many ways, or like, did they help you in some ways?
Who the actors?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the ones they really help are the animators, because the animators are sitting in a dark room for 2 years and they need, you know, just anything to help them. So we filmed the actors just with a little digital camera, and the animators can look at them in case they want to give any, you know, mannerisms that the actors bring to it and things. So yeah, no, they're the characters, you know, they're the ones that have to, like the animators, help bring it to life.
And also, when I was watching the movie, I kept thinking about the whole title of the original Frankenstein story, The New Prometheus. And I was saying like how Victor has this gift of life to his dog, and how the other kids like misuse this gift. So how was working with that theme? Why did you choose that theme?
Well, I think it's a fairly simple classic theme. I mean, it's been talked for, you know, forever about technology or science, you know, can be both used for good or bad. I mean, you know, that's what every, you know, great villain is based on, using something for good or for bad. And I think that's just been such a classic theme in not only horror movies, but a lot of movies. And also it's true, you see, like now, you see what technology is able to achieve, it almost seems like, well, yeah, it can be used for good or for bad, or the technology's happening before we even understand the effects of it. So, those kind of themes are very always present.
Okay. And this was one of your first films. How can you perceive your change as a filmmaker since that movie? Considering you're like one of the few directors who have a very particular point of view, but you still work in the studio system.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, maybe someday that'll change. But yeah, no, I've only made movies with studios, but look, I think making a movie is hard anyway. Whether you get your money from a studio or some rich, person or whomever, or rob a bank or whatever, you get your money from somewhere. So they're as good as anybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing was like, how do you maintain this point of view?
Okay, yeah, okay. I didn't answer your question. That's true. Okay. I don't know. You know what it is? I don't think too much about it. I think, when I first started out, I was just making things that I like to make. Then you kind of get involved in Hollywood. Then you started to be treated like a thing, like some kind of a commodity of some sort. So I think once that started happening, I just stopped thinking about it. And, I just sort of take a project and just look at the project and try to do the best I can. Because I never like to think about myself like, oh, well, this is what I do, or this is my style, or it's going to be a popular movie, or, I can't, I don't know what any of those things would be, really.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay.